Hi, this is Pete Eckman with the RoboZone Podcast. This is a special edition. We're calling it the World's Edition. We have two members here, two guests that are going to be, oh, they're already here. We'll go to introductions, but they're headed down to Houston or is already that close to Houston. So with that, we'll get to some introductions. Jay, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Jay Tenbrink, and I am the lead mentor for the Goodrich High School robotics teams. That's the Goodrich Martians Team 494 and the Goodrich More Martians Team 70.
Next up, we have Lily. Lily, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Lily Eckman. I am a mentor on Team 3604, the Goon Squad, and I'm an alumni of Team 70, the More Martians, and Team 2337, the Engine Nerds.
And I am alumni from Team 70 and 494, but that was a hot minute ago, like a decade. And I'm getting old.
Wow.
Right, Lily?
That makes me feel old.
Yeah, but I'm your dad. Anyways, congratulations, guys, for making it to Worlds and heading down. Lily, you're still in Michigan. Jay's in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh,
we
wow.
talked about some Cajun food he got to taste tonight. And I'm jealous because I want a po' boy, but I'm in Michigan. So you guys are headed down or already down there. Congratulations for making it. Lily, congratulations to the Goon Squad for making it state champs representation for the Impact Award. Headed down.
Second year in a row.
To Worlds. Hopefully you guys bring home the national banner. That would be a pretty good one to put in your pit. Mm-hmm. And in your build space. But let's talk about the game first before we talk about Impact. So Jay, early on in the season, it's been many weeks. It seems like centuries since we last talked. This was at the beginning of the season. We're still in build season when we talked. Tell me about 70 and 494 and your guys' success thus far this year.
Well, one of the things that I think led to that, we started out in that first week after, some brainstorming. We do a full-scale simulation of the game, and we had a total of 6 area teams participating, and we would go through and play the game. And at the end of that night, and I think it was one of the mentors from Ortonville, the truck town, he said, you know what, you got to score LG. That's going to be a big deal at the end of the match. You're going to want to have a robot that can score LG. And because before that, everyone was thinking, yeah, no big deal. There's no ranking points there. All you can do is win a match. But we figured out why they put the LG there. And we went into week 1 with robots that had the ability to handle LG. Unfortunately, they didn't handle it well enough, and we had to totally rebuild the LG handler. And it went from, on a scale of 1 to 10, it went from like a 1.5 to probably a 9. I don't know. So we knew that we had to fix that, and we did, and it's served us well. So that got better. We sped everything else up. The speed of the lift, all the autonomous functions on the robot. The team spent many hours working on that to make everything faster, smoother, better. So, we came away as finalists in week 1, and then week 6, we were up at Ferris, and for the week 5, we were up at Ferris with both teams, and we won together. So this was the first time in 20 years of having 2 teams, in Goodrich, that we actually brought home twin blue banners. So that was pretty special, and then on to states, and now on to Worlds. So
congratulations. I remember back when me and Lily were part of the teams that you guys would often pick each other, but miss it by like this much. So I'm glad you guys finally got that double blue banner for you guys in week 5 at Ferris. How was that? How was Ferris? Was that a good comp? This is the first year at Ferris, right?
Well, we enjoyed it immensely, and it's like It had a really nice feel to it. I mean, the venue was great. They did a fine job there, and it seemed like every team we played with they were just great people. So we really enjoyed it and had a real good weekend. So,
I know they host Robo Day too, because
oh,
that's
okay.
in September. We're signed up. We're
Yeah.
coming to Robo Day, and I did it with my previous team with 7056. Awesome people, man. Awesome people out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Well, one other thing too, I want to mention about, the two teams, we do not always pick each other,
No,
and not at all. I mean, it's probably, I don't know, half the time maybe. I mean, like week one at Kettering, we did not team up together, but with Ferris we did, and so anyway,
you
we
knew the capabilities of the robots because they're twins.
right, and we always both teams play to win. So if one of the teams feels that there's a better choice out there, they do it. So um, yeah, so it worked out.
I'm glad
This
it
was a
did.
good year, complementary teams and robots, and this year worked out for us. So.
Perfect. So Lily, I remember because I watch a lot of robotics. You know this. I remember hearing your voice at one of the events. I'm like, wait, I didn't think she was an MC at the event, but that was Kettering. Was it week 1 or week 2?
It was Ferndale. So
Oh, Ferndale.
I was
Sorry.
supposed to be at Kettering, and then I just started a job at a company called Torque Robotics, where, fun fact, over half of my 8 interviewers were FIRST Robotics alumni or mentors, and our CTO, CJ King, is actually a mentor on Saline Singularity and was at States last weekend. So FIRST Robotics runs within the core of our company. But no, so I was supposed to, and I went to Texas for the first time that Sunday. So I had to pull out of Kettering because I thought I was going to go that Saturday. The Goon Squad was at Ferndale, and I had spare time on my hands. I was delivering coffee, being that team mentor, where I was like, mentors, what do you need? But Ferndale was a brand new event this year, and they had 1 EC and 2 VCs. One of the VCs is the daughter of one of the lead VCs for the state of Michigan, Cheryl Thompson. I love Cheryl. Ferndale was a brand new event, so when I was there, I noticed that they only had 2 announcers, and I am very ingrained in the volunteer community in First in Michigan. I'm actually a volunteer coordinator now for the Livonia event. So I was talking to the announcers, and they were like, we don't have a third person. We really need a break, and it's only day 1. So I told them, I'm like, whenever you guys are ready, if I'm still here, I'd love to come down and help out because I love mentoring, but I like to consider myself to be a volunteer first. And it is very important to me to make sure that events are run as smoothly as possible, not just for the volunteers, but the volunteers' experience affects the kids' experience. So I was there 2 hours. I was about to leave when they started sending my kids looking for me. They're like, is Lily still here? Is Lily still here? And I went and I covered a couple matches.
That's good. Well, it was good to hear your voice, right? So tell us about the success of the Goon Squad this year.
So Ferndale was a very interesting competition to start off for the Goon Squad. I would say in the build season, coming off of last year's success, the Goon Squad last year had a lot of success robot-wise and non-robot-wise, and it was awesome to see. But as a mentor, I was like, okay, they're going to come off last year on such a high that it's going to kind of affect them this year. And that's what we were all expecting, but that's something that we all of us as mentors have to help them through. But it's the kids' robot, it's their designs, they get the final say, and they definitely had the final say during build season. And I think it kind of educated them for Ferndale. Not to say that they didn't do well at Ferndale, they did, but each competition is a learning experience for the kids. So after Ferndale, they were like, we have 3 weeks until Woodhaven. We can definitely change a lot of things. They definitely got more into that strategy dictates design aspect that I always try to teach my kids, that my mentors from all the teams I was on taught me when I was a student, now that I try to pass on to them. So that reflected onto Woodhaven. Woodhaven was such an interesting event. We had such an interesting competition there. And I was a volunteer there, but just everywhere in general, there are all these teams that can do so many different things that it made alliance selection really, really interesting. And I'm a game announcer, so one thing I really noticed is that at Woodhaven, all of the playoffs matches were won within like 5 to 10 to 15 points of one another, which is really close matches. And if anyone knows me, they know I love close matches. That included the Goon Squad, and the Goon Squad got knocked out because all these alliances were so similar to one another. And it really was like who could play better, who had the better strategy for their alliance. And that was also just so interesting to see and so fun. I love it when matches are that close. It makes it fun for like everybody. Me and Tom Nader were there, and we were just freaking out the whole time, just having so much fun. And then they went to states. Active 494 was on our field, actually. I think Mr. Tenbrink can agree with me. Active was a difficult field. There were a lot of great teams on the field, whereas like compared to DTE had a very offensive heavy robot field, whereas we had the great mix of both offensive and defensive robots, which made for another great playoffs round. And they got knocked out kind of quickly in active, but they're going on to the World Championship. Will be on Milstein, and I can't wait to see what my students do there. But on the other hand, they ended up winning the State Impact Award for the second year in the row, and I'm so excited to see what happens at Worlds for my students.
You guys, both your guys' teams, I should say the three teams because Jay's got two. Just amazing outcomes for each of those teams. Something that we've traditionally, I would say that I like all those teams. I can see them always doing good things, but there's good people there, and I think that that's one thing that I really remember about the Goon Squad and 70 and 494 Martians and more Martians. It's just good people. I mean, you guys often help anyone that's at those events. I did when I was with you guys. Help people. We're always trying to help other people and raise up everyone. So congratulations on everything you guys have achieved. Slightly jealous. I don't have a blue banner yet, but I'll get there. I'll get there on this team. I won one with you guys. We won one together, but that was, like I said, many moons ago. So I always want a new one. It's just like a new car. I want the new banner.
The new banner smell.
That new banner small, even though they're different and slightly less thick.
They're better this year than last year, though.
Oh, they're different this year?
Yes.
Okay, good. Jay, now you and me have talked, and for people that don't know, Jay has often sent me videos this year. No commentary, no, hey, Pete, watch this, just a video, and then I watch it. So I kind of build my inner monologue to what I see. And I appreciate that because I don't want Jay telling me. I want to figure it out for myself. And that as drive coaches, we like to do that, share things back and forth. So now that we know we've seen the meta change, like Jay, you said, you really have to do LG on top of doing Coral. Anyone can do Coral now, right? And anyone can do LG, like put in the processor. But now the secret sauce is how many LG can you put up into the barge, right? And you kind of talked about that. So we're going in, preparing yourself as the drive coach. Are you looking at videos from championships with other teams? Are you already scouting the other teams that are on your field? What field are the teams on? I don't think we heard yet. 70 and 494 in the same championship division, or are they in two different divisions?
Two different divisions. We're Daly and Hopper.
Okay. And Mrs. Tenbrink's always on point. She knows everything.
Yep.
She always good. Has been, though.
Always has been. Always has been. Yes.
Backbone of Goodrich Robotics.
Yes, and one of the best scouters I've ever met. So she's taught me a thing or two in my time with the team. So do you see as a drive coach things are going to go, Jay? Do you think we're going to see the full gambit of the meta all the way across? Because you have teams that are coming from regionals. They're not part of the district model where they've only had one event or maybe lucky two events, right? And they're coming to Worlds because they qualified. So where do you think the meta is going to be?
Well, I would say, I think that, just for starters, I think that the playoffs at the Michigan State Championship are every bit as brutal or more so than the playoffs on the different fields when we get to Houston. And that may sound like, oh yeah, we're so good and all that, but I mean, there is like 530 teams, something like that. and it's pretty brutal. And the Michigan Championship is very strong, and there's a lot of excellent teams that that they get knocked out early. So I think it's going to be tough. I mean, the teams, like every year, the teams that are there, they've played multiple competitions, hopefully, and they figured things out. Um, yeah, how's it going to be this year? I would say that just you're going to have. I think you're going to have a wider spectrum of capabilities. Um, but even the teams, I mean, you could have a kit bot that is well executed and well driven that can still compete. Okay, so you're going to have a wide range of capabilities, but most of these robots I would expect to be fine tuned to their capabilities. So I don't think it's going to be, like I said, I don't think it's going to be quite the same as Michigan State Championship, just because any team that plays in in the district model, you play a lot of matches, and if you're just playing if you're playing in the uh, regional model, yeah, you don't play as many matches. So um, I don't know, just kind of rambling on, but I think it's gonna be like going to another event, and just a lot more people, a lot more noise, and a lot farther to walk.
I think I always like to watch Worlds for one reason. I'm not saying Fim's the best. I'm not putting it out there because I will get some choice communications. We'll leave that at that. But I think you brought up a good point. When we play the district model, we play at least two events. You're doing at least 12 matches in each event, not including playoffs, and then or 10 to 12, and then you're getting your robot beat up pretty good. Now, defense was from week one, defense was a thing in Michigan, and we saw some knockout dragout impacts, almost like last year's full-blown full speed impacts when people were playing defense. So the robots, I think, for Michigan that have been through that district model, or robots through the district model, have been beat up, and they know how to repair them. They know where the weaknesses are. They've probably already ironed out those weaknesses. If you come from the regional model and you've only played, let's say, 10 to 15 matches total, and you're going to Worlds, there may be a chance where a swerve drive breaks or a wire comes loose, and that could happen to anything. But I'm saying is if you play in Michigan, you got beat up, and you know where the weaknesses are, and you've repaired the weaknesses. I want to see where the non-Michigan teams go and see what type of, and I don't wish anyone failure by any means, but it's part of the experience where that comes into play, and see if my method or my theory is correct. So that's one thing I'm looking at. Lily, you're looking at this from a different perspective. Not a drive coach, though I thought you could have been one. Um, as competitive as you are, as I taught you to be, and sometimes more competitive than me, if that's a thing. But what do you think you're going to see when you go down there for the World Championships?
Well, so I totally agree with you both. And I think I can come at this from a perspective of I was a drive team student when I was on 70. I helped build the robots, but now I'm a volunteer and now I teach my kids, but as a game announcer also. So here's the thing. Statistically, Michigan is also one of the hardest districts to come out of. That's why we send the most teams out of our district more than any other. And what's really going to be interesting is next year, we're adding two new states into the district system model. One of them being California, which we know is highly competitive. They have some of the best teams in the program that come out of California, but also Wisconsin, which is also going to be really interesting. But statistically, they always say playoffs matches on all of our FIM championship fields are harder than the world's fields for different reasons, though. So, like last year, for example, we saw completely different robot play strategies on the field than what we saw at the World Championship. to a point where all those Michigan teams that were playing one way and so competitively at the Michigan State Championship had to change the way that they played for the World Championship, and it showed because the students had to learn on their feet, the teams had to learn on their feet, and they had to learn how to be cooperative with and like how to have meshing strategies with all of these other teams that they had never played with before. Because the other thing about being in Michigan is, yes, there's definitely teams that you won't see until you're at the state championship. But a lot of these teams, and I feel like especially this year, they all played a lot of the same competitions based on the region that they were in Michigan. So I think that's an aspect of it. I think definitely learning on how to play with all these other teams from all these other regions is definitely interesting, and it teaches the students. But it also goes into this perspective that we haven't touched on yet that adds to the competitiveness, and that's the scouting data. Scouting data plays a huge part into how all these teams interact with other teams onto the field. And a lot of that scouting, when you hit the World Championship based on the Michigan State Championship, if you guys agree with this, or if you want to tell me more about your thoughts on this, the way that you scout also has to change when you get to the World Championship as well. So I think it's going to be really interesting. I haven't been to World since 2017. I have no idea what to expect when I'm down there, but I'm so excited. I'm just so excited for all this gameplay that we're going to see. And I'm really interested to see with my eyes how it's different than how I viewed it at MSC.
I agree with you. I'll go first. I agree with you. I think the scouting could be different. This is how I know. I went out to Chief Delphi because sometimes I am in a conference call and I get bored and I want to go see what's going on. Like when the divisions were going to be announced, everyone was losing their collective mind, posting by the second, hey, they're not out yet. They're not out yet. However, I saw some postings in Chief Delphi that said, hey, we're going to World Championships. What other teams are on X field? And do you guys want to do a collective scouting? Mm-hmm. I personally have never seen that. So I think the scouting is different. It's not just one team, because I think the reason for that, Lily and Jay, is that not everyone is sending their whole team down because of costs. Now, there are teams in Canada. Yes. From Canada that can't go because, and it's all on Chief Delphi. If you guys get bored, just read it. Like it was $30,000 Canadian just to get the bus for the week to go down there because things changed this year, and the hoteling's all run by FIRST. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm just saying it's run by FIRST. So you have some teams that are 30 miles out from the venue, so they have to shuttle back and forth, and you can't do that in vans, depending on how many kids you're sending. So they're, maybe they're not sending. I know 7056, one of my prior teams, right? I love that team. They're made worlds. They're only sending the drive team. So they don't have...
They're going to be on Milstein with me.
Yeah. They don't have extra students to scout. So therefore, there's more of this collective cooperation, if you want to call it, scouting pieces. Jay, what do you think about that piece?
We have always searched out and welcomed other teams to collaborate with us with scouting. It's an awful lot of work, and we've always struggled to have enough people that could, focus on it and do a good job. So, and this year, you're right. This is a super important year for scouting. There's so many different aspects, and I don't know that just going by statistics is going to be enough.
I mean, you have a gut feeling? Gut feeling?
Yeah, and gut feeling, or another word for the qualitative, qualitative measures, and so
hopefully teams. I mean, if I was going to World, right, and I was only taking my drive team, I tried to think about this today before we recorded. If I was taking just my drive team and me as the drive coach going down there, and we're going to get onto a field and we didn't have any other scouters, I think a lot of the drive coach's job is to take notes of each and every match. What worked, what didn't work, what teams worked well, what teams didn't work well. I know that at St. Joe this year, when my team and me as the drive coach, the Robo Beavers, went to St. Joe, the team that picked us for playoffs said the reason they picked us for playoffs wasn't because of scouting data. It's because of the feeling they had with us. that we had the very first match of the day. It went very well. We won the match, but we gelled together. And that's why they chose us. And I think that is a lost art. Because as drive coaches, Jay, I've never seen you irritated as a drive coach. I've known you for 10 years. Never seen you irritated. You've always looked at it from a proactive and very responsible and respectful way of, okay, this didn't go well. This is how we can get better. Never blame it on the other alliance partner or anything of that nature. I've never heard you say anything negative. So I've tried to use that as a drive coach.
Yeah, I could be accused of being overexcited, but
you're always excited.
Yeah.
Always excited.
Yeah. And that doesn't always come across the same way for everybody. So
that's true. But I mean, you're always willing to shake hands after a match, even if
Absolutely.
you lose.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just respectful. And Lily, I know you as the operator when you were on the team, same thing. Wasn't Jay being your drive coach? It was the other drive coach.
Mr. Nowakowski.
Yeah, Mr. Nowakowski, but same thing. Always respectful, shake the hand. That's the common respect.
Gracious professionalism.
Yes, Woody would be proud. Would be proud. What is different? Okay, it's been a hot minute since I've been to Worlds, and I didn't take the team. I mean, I just visited when it was in Detroit. Please bring Detroit Worlds back, please, 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 please. It makes it a little more open. Hopefully Dean Kamen's watching this. He's not, but Dean, if you're out there, bring back Worlds to Detroit. Anyways,
well, they should be announcing the next venue here either after this season or after next season. This should and from my understanding, I could be wrong because things could have totally changed by then, but we had a FIRST employee come and volunteer and visit MSC last year, and he told me at the time that Houston wasn't on the docket for that and that they were looking I think Chicago was one of the possibilities, somewhere on the East Coast. But yeah, so that's also something to look out for.
I just hope there's two. I always like the two model. I like that it opens it up for more teams. Mm-hmm. And that we put a lot of effort and a lot of money into doing this stuff. Let's send more teams to Worlds. It's an experience, right? I remember all three of us getting on a bus and going to St. Louis.
For Worlds. I loved St. Louis.
that was an amazing experience, but that was a hot minute ago.
Oh yeah,
a little while ago. But what's Worlds, Jay? What's Worlds compared to States? Right, you just came out of States. What's Worlds? Is it a whole new world, to use the going phrase? Disney, don't sue me. Is it a whole new world at Worlds when you're going down there?
It's up another notch. It goes from a 10 to 11, but just Worlds, it's big. It's just so big, and in the way that it's laid out, everything in a row. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it goes for, I don't know, almost a half a mile. I mean, that's a lot of robot. That's a lot of people, and it is very impressive to see that. Just super impressive, and it's an experience that stays with people for the rest of their lives. So
probably why they make it a reason to get down there, because it's not cheap to get down there either.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, let me just real briefly.
Sure.
The first 2 years that I went to Worlds, it was 01 and 02, and Worlds were held on the parking lot of Epcot Center in tents. There were 3 fields. And anyway, those were the days.
It's also crazy to think about. In 2014, that was my freshman year of high school, and that was my first trip to Worlds in St. Louis. There were 4 fields there, and now only at the Michigan State Championship do we have 4. And it's just so exciting to see how in the last 10, 11 years, how much FIRST and STEM has grown in that aspect, because now we have 8 fields at Worlds and 4 at the Michigan State Championship. That, if you're comparing it, that means the Michigan State Championship is comparable to how Worlds was 10 years ago. That's an incredible thought.
Yeah, 20. Yeah.
It's different. So Lily, you're headed down there, I think, on Wednesday. What are you looking forward to?
One of my favorite things is just taking in all the culture that all of the teams bring in. seeing a lot of the international teams has always been fun. And because Worlds isn't just FRC, it's also FLL and FTC, and how FTC is also at the high school level at a lot of other states, not in Michigan, but like around the country and around the world. It's also really cool to go and meet like other teams there that are comparable to like my high school students. They just build smaller robots. But something that I always loved was going and seeing new places. So I've never been to Houston. I just started visiting Texas for the first time, and I have to stay in Texas after Houston for an additional week due to work. So I'm excited about that. One thing that I've always loved since I was a freshman is shirt trading. And it's because I get to meet other people and kind of collect a memory from that. And I'm making a couple shirt trades while I'm going to be in Houston with a couple like international teams as well. And just getting to meet all these cool people from all these teams around the world. And that's such a cool experience to have. And I'm so excited to see what my students are going to do at Worlds and how they're going to compete and get to like be in that experience with them. And then all of like so many of my friends are going down this year. This is the year to go for me. So I'm just so excited all around.
And you guys are going to have great weather.
Oh, yes. Texas is
40 degrees here.
Yeah. Texas has awesome weather, I will say.
Yeah. Minus the thunderstorms and tornadoes, which we don't wish upon you guys. And it's not hurricane season, so you don't have to worry about that. It's a good thing. Okay. I got one more question for you guys. I'm going to let you go. Okay. Lily, this is going to be a doozy for you, but I think Jay's going to be on point. So, Jay, what do you think the highest score without penalty points we're going to see in a single match at Worlds?
Oh boy, I've not done the math, but 260.
260. Okay, no penalty points. I got you.
Points.
I had the Michigan State champs on just a couple days ago, and I think the highest I heard was like 282. Don't mark my words. I did a lot of editing on that one, so I can't remember
penalties.
Exactly. Without penalties.
Did we hit into the 280s without penalties?
I don't know.
States?
I don't know.
I would double check that.
I don't know. Lily, what do you think it's going to be?
Well, I was going to go based off like one of the last known high scores that I saw at states, which I thought was like 260 something, like 261 without penalties. The thing about Worlds is that Worlds doesn't usually top the world high score. I actually think the world high score currently is set from Israel without penalties right now. And because it gets so competitive there, and we're going to be seeing all that defense and more algae hopefully being scored and all this stuff, I don't think that we're going to see like a cap. So okay. I'm going to stick with like 250 or 260.
Okay. I'm picking like 284, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because one, they ratcheted up the amount of coral that you need for the RP, right? They ratcheted up the amount of points that you need for the hang at the end for the barge. And I think that just means that more people will have 3 and 4 piece autons, which if you have 3 robots doing a 3-piece auton maximizes, you could have like 78 points coming out of auto.
We saw like 71 on Fimstein, I think it was, coming out of auto. 71, I think, was the highest auton score.
So I'm saying like that high 280s. We'll see what happens. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. No worries. I like predicting things though. So as we sign out, we'll go with you, Jay, first. Tell us again who you are, what team you're with, or teams you're with in your case, and how we can follow the teams on social media for the week.
Well, my name is Jay Tenbrink, and I'm the lead mentor for the Goodrich High School robotics programs. That is the Goodrich Martians, Team 494, and the Moore Martians, Team 70. And you could email us, contact us through the Goodrich area schools, but just watch us online. Come and see us in person.
Yep. Use the Blue Alliance for what it's worth, because they give you access right to it. Okay, Lily, tell us who you are, what team you're with, and how we follow it.
All right, and I'm Lily Eckman. I am a mentor on Team 3604, the Goon Squad. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and you can also follow our all-girls international invitational off-season competition at the Goonettes Invitational. We are about to open applications, so please come apply.
Nice. Congratulations for your success. Take home some blue banners at World. 494 and 70. Let's take home, World Championship banner, maybe together. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. And Lily, we wish you to try to take home a comp banner for the robot and that World Championship banner for Impact.
Okay.
Good luck, guys.
All right. Thank you.